Today's topic, how to start a fight. 3 simple lessons in the art of starting shit. Please try and pay attention.
There are going to be future problems with this asshole.
We at the FCC feel that democracy is all about protecting the rights of the ordinary citizen. Unregulated radio would result in programming of the lowest common denominator, the rule of the mob.
I remember when I went and saw Pigpen play there, and they threw a trash can from the upper balcony into the middle of the mosh pit.
Yeah, we appreciate you listening to it through us first or second.
Yeah, they don't even have an album out. I'm thinking these guys are really just there to make some money. It was a sold-out show.
Well, yeah, and this is horrible. Maybe they're a Florida pirate.
All right, well, fucking suck it. Loud, fast, and shitty.
So we only had one practice for this show. If you all would humor me and all, everybody down. Come on, we're gonna do a little prayer for this show. This is the way it starts. God damn it, get down. Everybody, I can see you right now. Come on. Come on. Come on. Very good song. Dear Lord, please don't let us suck tonight. And please don't let our crowd suck tonight either. Amen. Everybody say amen. Amen. Good enough. This first song is a song and it goes like this.
Oh, yeah, some classic Pink Lincolns right there for you. It's loudfastshitty.com. Bob Noxious, episode number 387. Here we are. It's Tuesday night. We're in lockdown, and I got none other than the legendary, the infamous Mr. Chris Barrows, the musician, the author, the photographer. What is it these days, Chris? How you doing, man?
Doing good. Just a old guy.
You're an old guy who's living the dream, dude. So many moons ago, before you were just an itch in your daddy's pants, well, not you, but, you know, the people who might be listening, Chris Barrows was attending, a young Chris Barrows was attending rock concerts and living the dream and lusting after the dream and taking photos. Is that an accurate statement?
Sure. I mean, I still can't figure out why I started taking pictures and why I just kept doing it. I was thinking about that the other day. I don't know. I guess I thought it would be cool or something.
So let's take it back. All right. So for everybody who's listening, Chris Barrows has a new book coming out. It's called Cheap Shots. and it's a compilation of photos that he's taken over the course of his lifetime of legendary bands in their most humble of beginnings. Take it from there, Chris. Just tell me about this book that you got coming out on Rare Bird Books.
It's actually pretty cool. I got one copy of the book just as an advance copy, and it's way better than I thought it would be. All the photos in it are just amazing. They did, instead of black and white, it was black and silver, and it gives it more depth. And it's like every page that you flip, it's just like, God damn, holy shit. You know, it looks great. And
can you hold it up? You got a copy with you? Let's see it.
Sure.
So
Can you see that?
Raise it up a little bit. That's like a bona fide like library book. Now, is this going to be in the Library of Congress or wherever it goes? Or is there going to be a copy of Cheap Shots 100 years from now?
I think the whole title is a photographic look at underground bands from the 1980s and beyond. That's the secondary title for it. All books have to have like a title and then another title for whatever reason, like Little Finger in the Air type shit. I don't know.
So, all right. So the date starts in the 1980s. What happened pre-70s? Let's just back it up a little bit. We're podcast. We can go long form if we want to. Tell me a little bit about Chris pre-80s.
Okay, pre-80s, I would be going to either Curtis Hickson Hall or Lakeland Civic Center to see rock bands. I saw a lot of bands back then when I was a kid. Lakeland Civic Center always had bands there. Always. I saw the Stones there. Curtis Hickson, there was always bands there. The Agora, the Tampa Agora, that was a cool place for a short while. It was small. But, I just used to go see rock bands until I decided to cut my hair and then started going to see punk bands.
So when you say came here, when you came here, that's to the Tampa, Florida area. Previous to that, where are you from, Chris? Kansas?
Yeah.
According to your Wikipedia. and your birth certificate, I'm sure, too. So you grew up in Kansas, came to Tampa. Now, was that in the 70s? Obviously, if you're going to shows in the 70s at Curtis Hickson. Yeah. But in the 80s, is that the coming of age for Chris Barrows?
As far as
just an age. So I guess you're going to see the Stones in the 70s. So maybe not. What I'm trying to pinpoint when you got a camera in your hands and started taking photos.
Probably late 70s, very late 70s. And then when I hit 1980, that's when I really started going crazy, taking a lot of pictures. It was a good time back then. Everybody had cash. Things were awesome. Everybody wanted to go out every night of the week and shit, It's before the economy went down a little bit, but things used to be awesome, man. I'd go see 3 bands a week at the Cuban Club and shit,
There's a lot to be said about bands that are still out there, that you could go out and see a couple nights a week and see some live music. It's just back then it was so widespread, right? So you were doing it.
Yeah, it was rampant, just everybody was going out, buying merch every night and shit like that. So good times back then. Really good times.
So your book, Cheap Shots, it's a collection of photographs, as we've mentioned. Is there any text in it? Is there stories behind any of the photos?
Right. I kind of tried to make the text as little as possible, unless I had something to say a lot about somebody. But that being said, there's a lot of text in there. Like Ben Weasel did a foreword, and shit. This is still kind of new to me, so kind of bear with me.
Well, let's talk about that. So Ben Weasel, you got Ben Weasel to write your foreword. And every book has got to have a foreword. How did you come about getting Ben involved in
Okay, when I had... Now what? How do I know Ben?
Yes. For those who don't know.
John Jughead sent me our cassette reviews for our demo tapes, the Lincolns and the Screeching Weasel. They were reviewed almost side by side in the Maximum Rock and Roll. So Jughead sent me a copy of his cassette and, hey, send me one of yours. And so we just stayed in touch ever since then. So,
that's an interesting point, Chris, because what you're talking about is
I can talk well sometimes.
Well, but this is prior to the internet, right? So it's being prior to the internet. That means that you had pen pals. Did we lose them? Check 1 2.
Yeah, that's what everybody did back then. Like Maximum Rock and Roll was huge back then because I made a lot of friends by, that you'd read their review and, wow, that sounds cool, and you'd write them and they'd send you a cassette. It's like, holy shit, this is good. That's how there was no online shit back then. It was just sending cash through the mail to get cassettes and stuff.
That alone is that's another story in itself, right? I bet you people could talk all night about tape trading and being a pen pal and life before the internet. So, Chris, I'm going to play a couple of videos because everybody knows you as a musician. You've been in Pink Lincolns, the Spears, 210, Chris Barrows band. You've always been a musician, so I guess it's kind of obvious that you've floated in these circles, but we'll try to cover on maybe how you got involved with the photos and maybe what your first camera was. What's your first camera, Chris?
A piece of shit, it was a 110 Instamatic, and I kind of kept with those for a while just because they break easy, but I didn't want to break a nice camera, so I just kept buying those. So, but what's crazy is you look at these pictures and they're all hazy and fucked up and shit, and then you tweak them, and it's like you could see shit in the background that you never saw before. It's like, holy fuck, that's what kind of sorcery is this? It's like, and what I don't know the equipment that the publisher has, but they made it amazing looking. I mean, every photo in there, it's like, God damn, wow, fuck,
So you've been trying to put this book together 17, 18 years, right?
Right.
Did you have to send them the original photos, or was it a scanned copy?
No, I scanned everything. But see, I had to scan at 1200 DPI. So it would take a long time. It would take like 25 minutes to scan each photo that I used in this book. So I'd wake up in the morning, I'd put a picture on, hit scan, I'd go to work, I'd come home, take it off, switch it, hit scan, I'd take a shower, come out, it's like I lived in 25-minute increments for months and months until I got all that done. And now I'm working on book number 2, and I'm going to start going through the same shit again. But,
wow, so book number 2. Book number 1 isn't even out yet, right? Oh, and by the way, I saw Bob Cern is listening right now. I know that Bob has a book too. You know Bob, right?
Yeah, right. Crate Digger.
Matter of fact, I bet you that book's almost in arm's reach somewhere in this room right here. I'll have to find it. So there you go. Like I said, everybody's got a book out, right? But you're talking about a second book already, and the first book's not even out yet. So there must be some excitement with Rare Bird, who's the publisher. I'm assuming, I guess, that's who would be doing a second book with you?
Right. And we were talking, and it just kind of slid out that I didn't want to say it because I thought he would be all businessman about it and shit. But we were talking, and I said, yeah, this is cool. And I have enough pictures to do a second book. And he goes, are you serious? And I said, I thought about it for a second. I'm like, yeah, I do. And he goes, would that be something that you would let me put out? I'm like, holy shit, you would do that? Yeah. So he gave me the green light on the second one. He's a great guy, and it's a good company. And the few people that I've had to deal with there, they're just awesome people.
How did you get involved with those guys?
Rare Bird?
Yeah, Rare Bird. How did I've known you for a while, Chris, and you've always told me about your photo collection and you want to put it out in book form, but how did you finally meet someone who hard pressed it, glossy photos, 199 photos? How'd you make that happen?
I was pulling my hair out, just trying to get anybody to put it out, and this guy sent me a friend request, Tyson Cornell. And at first I thought, this is a joke. He's got glasses, his hair's combed nice, he's in a nice business suit, his profile picture, and it's like, I don't get friend requests like that. I get like band dudes, like, no, and shit like that. And this guy's like, holy fuck, he's, this is a mistake or something? So I just clicked on him, it's like, this is weird. And for some reason I just picked at it, and it said, I work at Rare Bird Lit. And I'm like, holy fuck. And so I clicked on him a little bit more, and it said, there was a picture of him leaning, trying to look like a badass on his desk and shit. And it said, I am the CEO. And I thought, okay, this is a joke. A lot of people know I'm trying to fucking put a book out. Somebody's fucking with me. That's all I kept thinking. It's like, this isn't normal. Something's weird with this.
You had to check your calendar, make sure it wasn't April 1st.
Yeah, so I just I went ahead and got in touch with him. I said, hey, thank you so much for the friend request. And by the way, I saw that you work at Rare Bird Lit. I have a book that I've been dragging around for years trying to get out. Would you be interested in looking at it? And he said, yes, that would be awesome. I'd love to take a look at it. I was like, holy shit, this is too easy. I was just thinking, okay, this is fucked up. It's going to get unraveled any second. And we talked back and forth about it, and it was like, it was a long vetting session. He puts out 50 books a year. That's pretty much a book a week. So, he's busy. He doesn't have time to fuck around and stuff like that. It's a very professional company. And he gave me a slot. And he said, it's not going to come up for a while, but when it does, your book will be out. So I waited, and it happened. So, yeah, the books are supposed to be released on June 9th.
So June 9th, the book is released. Right now, you can pick up a copy from pre-order status. It's $35.
Right.
Rarebird.com. Is it Rarebird Books? What is it? Do you know?
Rare Bird Lit. I don't have the. If you Google Rare Bird Lit, it'll come up.
All right. Google Rare Bird Lit. It'll come up. Look up in the Chris Barrows cheap shots.
Okay.
Yeah. Chris, I'm going to play a video real quick, man. We're going to come back. We're going to let everybody regroup. The chat room's starting to become active. Maybe we get a couple questions. If anybody has some questions, feel free. And Chris, stand by for a couple minutes. We're going to play some Pink Lincoln's Sleeping Song. This is... Oh, no. Well, hold on. You know what? I said it, so now I got to play it, right, Chris? All right, Sleeping Song. This is live from Tampa, Florida. All right, here we go. Loudfastshitty.com. Bob Noxious with Chris Barrows.
I like to sing my sleeping song. I like to sing it all night long. It's just a little thing I do, and it's too bad if it bothers you. If you get in too deep with me, then you won't want to sleep with me. My sleeping song, my peccadillo. So dig your head into your pillow. I like to
All right, man. Loud, Fast, Shitty, episode number 387. We're back. I'm Bob Noxious. I'm hanging out with Chris Barrows, author, musician, photographer. Bring him back into the show. Chris, Cheap Shots. It's a photographic look at underground bands from the 1980s and beyond by Chris Barrows. It's got a nice ring to it.
I can say that.
Hey, so if you get the pre-order, it comes with an autographed copy. Are you privy to each autographed copy, or are you just signing them blindly?
Actually, what it is they didn't get the books printed in time, I think. So what I'm signing are certain prints from the book. So, so he's going to figure out what prints. He's going to send them to me. I have to sign them all and send them back to him, and then he takes them and inserts them into the books. So it's not really signed books. It's
okay,
signed
so I'll
get
get my signed copy from you. Me myself, I'm not worried about that. But let's talk about some of the content that's in the book. I've known you for a long time, Chris, and you've told me about this book for years. But you've been secretive and guarded. And if anybody follows you on Facebook, you know, we've seen your photos that you've posted. You know, a lot of them are precursors, and you're like, oh, that's not even the good stuff. So tell us, give us some names starting from the top of the list down. Who's the probably the biggest photo? What's the one that's going to cause the most controversy or have the most talked about discussion?
I got a couple badass GG pictures. Shit. Hang on. Let me flip through and see what I can find.
So if you're just tuning in, Chris Barrows is on loudfastshitty.com via the Skype.
This is Iggy Pop and his band. He's doing a back band.
Hold it up a little bit, Chris.
That was
Hold it up a little bit.
1981, I think.
Iggy Pop, 1981. Go to the right a little bit. You're right. The other right. Stage right. Yeah. Okay. So that is. So I'm assuming, obviously, a never before published photo.
Right.
Is it safe to say that every photo in this book is never before been published?
A couple of them I posted, or I would send like Saccharine Trust. I like those guys, so they're like, hey, they're talking and shit, and hey, I got some pictures, I'll send them to you. So then they started posting them and shit. So it's like, whatever, you know. But like John Lydon, can you see it?
Yeah. So tell me about that. John Lydon, singer for the Sex Pistols, legendary.
This was in Public Image, though.
Oh, that was Public Image Limited. Okay, so that's okay. I was going to ask. Yeah, so I was going to be like, damn, Chris, you were old hanging out with fucking John Lydon. But you're hanging out with John Lydon. How did you get those? How do you get the photos? Do you go up and do you ask? I mean, obviously that's a live shot, but you know, you befriend these guys too, don't you?
I don't know. It depends what you mean by befriend. I just
I don't know, Chris. I assume you're backstage and hanging out because you're royalty in the punk rock community.
Well, it's easier just kind of walking up on somebody, just going boom, instead of, excuse me, could I take your picture? But if you're trying to take a band shot, you know, then you got to wait until everybody's kind of in the same area so that you can, hey, get together, so boom, you know. Individual pictures are easier due to that reason. But here's a picture. Let me see it.
Drop it down just about a couple inches.
Drop down, baby girl.
Yep, there you go. Yep. So who's that?
That's G.G. Allen sitting on a toilet.
I didn't recognize him with like so much hair on his body and so much not feces on his body.
Yeah, that's more feces, less hair.
So what's the era of that photo?
83-ish. Yeah. Oh, 89. And then Stiv Bators. Can you see it?
Yep. Perfect. Perfectly. Nice and glossy. So is that with the print you're talking about that is what do they call that print style that they used? That Because you
for
said
the
the pictures
picture?
kind of come off the pages for you.
It's black and silver. I'm not sure what type of silver that they use, but it's to help show depth and stuff. And that would be the Clash.
So where's that photo taken from?
Orlando.
So is the bulk of these photos taken from the local Tampa Bay area, or is this?
A lot of them are, but from when I used to tour and when I used to travel and shit. So some of them are from those. I got a lot of California pictures and stuff. He Who. That was at the State Theater.
Classic.
An all ages show.
I'm sure he was like, swinging his dick, jockstrap hanging, so.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
So talking about the biggest names that you've had on there, the liner notes say U2. Now, you've told me this story. Now, I'm not a fan of the band U2 personally, but arguably they're like one of the biggest bands in the world at one point, right? So
right.
Tell the story of how you got some early photos of U2. And how you remembered that's who the hell it was.
For some reason, I got the cassette because they had a lot of ads out in magazines and shit around that time. And so it's like, okay, I'll buy it. And I got it and I played it. And I thought it would be like more like uppity music or something, and it's like jingle, jangle, jingle, jangle. And I was like, holy shit. Wow. Whatever, it wasn't like necessarily to my liking, but then it's like, what? They're playing on Dale Mabry by the stadium. Okay, I'll go. What the fuck? It's a band. I'll go see them. It was $5, and it's like they did their thing. What pissed me off about them the most, and this is so I don't know. I shouldn't even say it, but this is how simple-minded I am sometimes. Okay, he had this shirt, right, and pants, and then he wore a belt over his shirt, and it's like, fuck you, why? It's like, come on, is that some kind of Irish shit or something? Or it was for some reason it really bothered me. Even
you weren't jibing well with his vibe. You weren't vibing with him.
No, I wasn't the over the shirt belt friend of his. No, but I shouldn't. I don't know. I'm weird. I'll see something that bothers me, and I'll let it bother me for the rest of my life. But
hey, Bono, I don't really like your vibe. Those pants you wore back in 1981 did not suit you.
No, I'll tell you something creepy about that show, though. I got my little camera, and I'm like this, and I'm trying to take a picture, and somebody's twirling my hair in back, and I just thought it was somebody I knew in back or whatever. And so I take a picture, and I lower the camera, and it's Bono. He's reaching around, twirling my hair. And it's like, really, dude? Come on.
After all these years, who knew that Bono had a thing for like long-haired dudes in Florida? Did you have long hair, Chris? Because I mean, the way you allude to it, it's like kind of like. Did you have long hair?
I had long hair. My hair was down to my butt. That was in junior high or early high school or some shit like that. That was in the 70s. That was back then.
Did you have a mustache to go with it?
I had a mustache for a little while. Yeah. That was when I was working in a restaurant a long time ago. That was my first job.
When was the last time that you had facial hair? We're getting deep with Chris Barrows. Inquiring minds want to know.
It's been a long time. I'll let it grow to stubble, if I feel lazy and shit, and then I'll shave. But I keep shaved. Just.
Could you grow a full beard if you wanted to?
Probably not. Not unless I had a magic marker.
Well, they say with that COVID-19 virus, man, we're not supposed to be growing beards and stuff. So maybe I'll shave mine off. But I've been doing this work from home thing, so not like I needed an excuse not to shave. But we'll see how burly this bitch can get. So Chris, I'm gonna play some more videos. And I don't know what time it is or for keeping anybody up past their dinner time or whatever. But it's episode 387. I had to think about that. Episode 387, we're live. I'm going to play some Chris Barrows band. This was a video that was put together by our good friend Eric Tolpo. He does the Ed Fancy radio show or whatever the hell it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Are you aware that he put together a video for the Chris Barrows band?
He did one for Cutter, and I think that's a 210 song. But
nope. Yeah, he told me about this one, about that one. Nope. So this one is for the split with Rick Agnew, and it's got Solitaire and Senility on it, and it's kind of a cool video because it shows a lot of 70s era toys, and it's to the beat of the music, and it's pretty cool. I found it online, and I can't really play copyright protected. Not that it's not copywritten music, but
that's the one with the balls bouncing.
Yeah. So I'm going to play that. We'll talk about that on the backside. We'll see in about 3 minutes, Chris. It's loudfastshitty.com. Bob Noxious, episode 387 with Chris Barrows.
Cool.
All right, man. It's Loud, Fast, Shitty, episode number 387. I'm Bob Noxious. I'm hanging out here with none other than Chris Barrows. Chris Barrows, everybody. This is where we cue in the applause, the canned-in laughter, but right now we all have 6 feet of separation between us. Chris, how you hanging over there on the what do you call it? The stay-at-home order that Florida is under. You doing good?
Staying.
Are you essential?
I'm not staying home. Yeah, I'm working.
We got an
I'd go
active
nuts
chat
if
room.
I just had to sit at my house for a fucking month, I'd go crazy, dude. I mean,
Well, there's a lot of that going on because it's funny. Like my house, Chris, has become a school, a podcast studio, a recording studio, the place where I work, the place where I live. I feel like my house should become tax-free and exempt, kind of like churches and other houses of worship. I don't know, man. That's my thought and my thought only. Oh man. So Chris Barrows band. Tell me about the Chris Barrows band. And by the way, who's your fucking guitar player? He's fucking fantastic.
some guy named Bob fucking Noxious. That's who.
Chris Barrows band. So that last song was a 7-inch that was released and put out and split with Rick Agnew. Tell me about how you know Rick Agnew, and is he in your book?
Yeah, I've known Rick for a long time, early 80s, and he's always been a good guy, great friend and shit. I mean, even from right back then, he liked the Lincolns. I walked up to him and gave him a Lincoln 7-inch, and he's like, holy shit, are you in the Lincolns? And we just talked for a long time, and that started it, you know. He's awesome. Him and they're both a lot alike because they're like giant children. They're emotionally, they're just into music and fun and, you know, just shit, you know, just like, fuck yeah. They're all excited about stuff still, even though they're older now, you know. But they both remind me of just little fucking kids still, you know. I've known both those guys forever. They're great.
I think one of the beauties of punk rock and music in general is the fact that you don't have to grow up. Here we are. I mean, who would have known, Chris? And I'm not going to make you tell your age because I'm not telling mine. You know, but here we are all these years later. Everybody's bonded by music still, and there's still an audience for it. And to be honest, I'm really hoping after this whole lockdown thing that we're going to have more of an appreciation for live music. And maybe we'll get some folks out there seeing some live punk bands and some old men doing it the way it should be done.
I'm not bad about my age. I'm old as fuck. I turn 62 in a couple days. So there.
So everybody make sure you send Chris your birthday wishes. 62 trips around the sun. Yeah. Did you ever think you'd still be doing this? Because I know you've been doing this a long time since.
I did. No. I thought I used to run with a pretty interesting crew up in Kansas, and I didn't think that I was going to live too long back then. And I got into trouble, and I got sent down to live with my brother, and that'll straighten your ass out. And I moved down here, and then he moved up north. So it's like, well, fuck, I guess I'll be in Florida for a while, you know. But I stayed down here because it doesn't snow. That's why. So.
Did you try living anywhere else other than Kansas? You grew up in Kansas. When did you move from Kansas? At what age?
I don't know. I think there was something about I went to 6th grade down here, and then I got shipped back up to Kansas, and then I came back down here in junior high or high school or something. But I just stopped going halfway through high school because I was falling asleep at work. I worked at a steakhouse, and I was living by myself. So it's like, okay, I could either, you know, work and eat, or I could go to school and fall asleep because I'm fucking tired, you know, from working all night, you know. So, and I always planned on going back, you know. I got my like GED, you know, but it's like I always planned on doing something better than just, you know, being me or whatever, but it never happens. So fucking whatever, you know, it's life.
Hey man, no regrets, right?
No regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah, so tattoos that are spelled wrong.
The chat room has been active, and there's a couple questions that are piled up. I don't know if you're watching the chat room, probably not. Chris, I've always heard the story about you playing basketball in Tampa with Bad Brains. Was that on one of their first tours?
That was at Clearwater, and that's. Hang on, let me see if I can find this. Hang on. Talk about stuff while I try to find this.
So Chris is looking in his book, everybody. Cheap Shots, available on Rare Birds Lit. Make sure you go check a copy. You can get an autographed copy, and I'm sure Chris is willing to probably autograph the actual book. There it is. So you're playing basketball with Bad Brains. All I can think of, Chris, is I don't know if you've watched it or not, but when Dave Chappelle did his Prince thing, and he's b-balling with Prince, and it's like shirts and blouses. When you were playing with Bad Brains, were you shirts or blouses?
No, I was just a white guy. I think.
Okay, all right. So there's a story behind it. There's a valid story. Go ahead, please tell us. It's in the book. Tell us the story.
Well, I didn't tell the story in the book. It's just we were just throwing some basketballs around after the show. That was basically it. I mean, we didn't.
All right, Chris. I got to break it down and get rudimentary with you. How did you meet them? Where were you at? How did you? I mean, there's HR from Bad Brains, and you're playing basketball. Where is it? What's going on? Tell us the story while I grab a beer.
It was at the Clearwater National Guard Armory, and they played, and then it was over, and so everybody left, and then they were hanging out shooting basketball, and so we just hung out, and HR had some really good weed and stuff, and just talked to him. Basically, I saw him at the Miss Lucky Club in 1980 or 81. And I just heard it was a band called Bad Brains, and I almost wasn't going to go because it's like some band from New York named themselves after a fucking Ramones song. It's like that seems kind of shallow, And I almost didn't go, but it's like, okay, fuck it, I'll go. And I went and parked in the parking lot, and I walked inside, and nobody was, just a couple tables of people. So I came back outside, and I looked, and there's this beat up van, New York plates on it, and tinted windows. And so I went up and knocked on the window, and it's rolled down, and all this smoke rolls out. And I said, hey, I don't have any money to get in, but they go, do you have any weed? I said, yeah. Get the man the hand stamp, they yelled at the roadie. He ran inside, got the hand stamp, stamped me a bunch of times and shit. And they just sat out there and smoked weed for a long fucking time before they came in. They were all just bleary-eyed. They're looking at each other. Then they just started, and it was just like, God damn, like, boom! Just like, I never saw anything like that, just fucking, they hit it as hard as possible, man. And it freaked me out. It was just like, God damn, this is fucking awesome, That's how I met Bad Brains.
Man, I tell you what, how many stories have you forgotten that most kids can't even remember? I mean, there's probably so many instances where you've crossed paths with people in your years and whatnot that how's your memory, dude? In 62 years of age, do you remember all your stories, or is it best to write a book to remember them all?
No, it's I remember some shit. Some shit I don't. It just depends if it was significant at the time or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I'm not a psychologist.
No, that's all right, man. There's no good answer to that. Going back to the chat room, do you still play guitar?
Yes, but not as well as I used to. My fingers are getting all fucked up and stuff. So, yay. It's an old man thing. But what I do is the band that I'm in, I play it, and then I give the song to the guy named Bob, and he does it a lot better than me. So that's how it works.
It's so funny to hear it described kind of in the third person, or as the outsider. So true story. Yeah. So Chris and I play in Chris Barrows' band, and he writes the songs, and I just make them sound good. So there you go.
Yeah. You do too. No, I love this band. You guys are great. You're great people, great musicians, and I'm glad that you put up with my silly shit and stuff. I really am. You guys are great. I'm saying that in public too, so that everybody could hear it. So I like this band a lot, and I like you guys a lot, and I think it works good. Remember those songs that we demoed?
Yeah, right here in this room, right here that we're in, right here. We demoed them. When are we gonna get back together, Chris?
Soon, because I got some more songs written too. So I want to put them all together and do another recording. So.
I have software updates and new hardware, man. I'm good to go. So, man, I'm jonesing to jam. I can't wait. What's the first thing that you're looking forward to after this whole coronavirus lockdown? What are you looking most forward to entering real life once again?
Fuck, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure if that's an open-ended or a closed-end question, but I've got my my teenage daughter Riel here, who's a journalism major, and she's probably going to like quiz me on everything tonight. And I probably just asked you a closed-ended question. Can I get a non? Can I get a? All right. Yeah. She's just looking at me like I'm crazy. Oh man, how about we play some more music right here? I had something lined up. I don't remember what the hell it is, Chris, but it's something from your catalog. It's loudfastshitty.com, episode 387. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up. We'll talk about the book some more. And, yeah.
My lingerie catalog?
Yes. Your
Good.
lingerie catalog.
Sweet.
Thanks, Chris.
Awesome.
When I was young, I used to believe in monsters. My TV and magazines and monsters. Night I used to dream about them, never did I ever doubt them. When I was young, I used to believe in monsters. Then one day I found out there's no monsters. They're just like my surprise, no monsters. They're just made to tell stories, graveyard scripts and laboratories. The other day I found out there's no monsters. Absent for a while were the monsters. Always frowned until I found the monsters. Found that there's no here to grace us now that we're in human faces. People are more hideous than monsters. Damn day I found out there are monsters. People are more hideous than monsters. I'm 5'8", but I'm 6 feet under. Been like this since I was younger. Another day and don't ask why. I need to find an alibi. Seems the world is getting dumber. I only use my powers for good. Sometimes I'm misunderstood. They never smile, I don't get kissed. They shake my hand, slip my wrist. Seems the world is Hollywood.
All right, man. It's Loud, Fast, Shitty, episode number 387. I'm Bob Noxious, hanging out here. It is Tuesday night. It's coronavirus lockdown night, and we're talking with none other than Chris Barrows, legendary, infamous frontman of Pink Lincoln's 210, Chris Barrows Band, The Spears. Yeah. How many more am I forgetting there, Chris?
I don't know. Jackie Papers, Sack. I don't know. I forget them too.
That's right, Jackie Papers, man. I got to tell you a funny story. Back in, first of all, what year was Jackie Papers active? That was 2000 or so?
Something like that, yeah.
I used to do a pirate radio show on FM radio, and that was about the time when you were active. And I thought it was awesome because you had the most ingenious idea of an entirely female backing band that was doing your front, while you were fronting the band. As a father of 3 daughters, I wanted to have all of my girls learn how to play an instrument, and they would ultimately be my backing band. But that never happened. But how do you deal with a bunch of women in the Jackie Papers? How do you do that?
I didn't think far enough ahead, I think. I don't know. I hadn't been doing a band for a couple of years after Lincoln's, right? And so I wasn't doing anything except walking my dog and working. That was it. And I thought, okay, fuck, I got to do something. I got to do something musical. But what am I going to do? Am I going to use old people like me, or am I going to get younger guys and look like some pedophile guy, or what? And
at this point, you're at age what, 40 something?
Exactly, right at 40. Actually, and I went through a bad separation, and I had to live in North Tampa for a while, off of Fletcher, and
Suitcase City.
Yes, sir. And it was Crip neighborhood. It was really interesting. But what I would do, I'd walk my dog, and this 1 month, for some reason, all the black girls there started dyeing their hair blue and wearing blue bandana skirts. And they look fucking awesome, man. I mean, they look cool as shit. And so I'd be walking my dog, and I'd think, fuck this, man. I'm going to get a band of black girls, And I got to do something different. I can't get, like, a bunch of old guys like me. That would look stupid as fuck. So, and I'd be walking by these girls, and I'd say, hey, do you know anybody that plays guitar, drums, or bass? And they just look at me like I was fucking insane. And so I kept trying, and nobody would do it. So it's like I just went ahead and resorted to, okay, I'll try white girls, and that came together kind of easy. I mean, God, that sounds so racial and everything and what I was saying, but at the time I was just trying to think of some reason to put a band together, because I just wasn't doing music for a long time.
So the result was Jackie Papers, and one of the songs that I always remembered that you had was a song called "I'm Not Online." And at the time, you have to think about that AOL was the first beginnings of the internet, for me at least. And what was the inspiration behind "I'm Not Online"?
Because I didn't have a computer, basically, so I was just like talking shit about things that I didn't understand, I guess.
Again, this comes from a guy who was sending pen pal messages to bands from Maximum Rock and Roll.
Right. Well,
No harm in that, Chris, man. So Chris Barrows, Cheap Shots, available on Rare Birds Lit. June 6th is the release date? 9th. Is that right?
Turn the 6 upside down, June 9th.
June 9th. You can get the pre-release right now. Find him on Facebook, facebook.com/Chris Barrows. I don't know what the fuck it is. He doesn't have any kind of real world web presence, do you, Chris? You're what do you got, like a Hotmail account?
Gmail.
Okay. That's at least this millennium, right?
Yeah, it's from the 1890s or some shit like that, I think.
So I can't wait for the book, dude. I cannot wait to see it. It's congratulations, and it's the best of luck to you for keeping all these photos archived over all these years. I don't even know how it happens because, I've been collecting real photos for years, and they've all gotten waterlogged or something's happened to them over the decades.
Right.
And, man, thank you for preserving a piece of music history for us. And I really hope 100 years from now people are like looking at your book and going, oh, yeah, there's U2. And who else is in there? Give us the rundown of everybody in there.
Everybody. Public Image, Wendy O. Williams, Gigi Allen, I don't know, etc., 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 etc. A bunch of people.
You got to find out for yourself. It's Rare Birds Lit. Still in pre-release. You can go ahead and pick up a copy right now. You can get an autographed copy from Chris. It'll be an insert that comes into the book. And if you know him, if you know Chris, maybe you want to mail him your book. I'm sure that he'd be more than happy to autograph a copy for you of your actual book.
Like I collect signed books, so it's like I'll send books to people, and like here, I'll send you my book, you sign it, I'll put a 20 in with it for you, and pay for return postage. I've done that a lot with people. So I mean, if people want to do that, if you want me to sign a book, I'll sign a fucking book. Books are cool. Books are like music for the eyeballs. So if you can't listen to music, at least read a fucking book.
I got one more question before we split, and this is something that I just know about you. I've been to shows with you before. And matter of fact, we're going to play a show. The last show you and I went together to as a spectator was the Queers in Orlando, and I have a clip from Tough Gnarl of that I'm going to play. But what the hell was my question? I forgot my damn question, Chris. I'm a terrible fucking interviewer. What's that?
Just wait until you get to be my age.
I don't know what the question was. It was a good question. It was a great question. It was the best question ever. Just so you know that.
I'm sure it was, Bob Trump.
I don't know. It's Tuesday night. I've been drinking. By the way, I'm drinking CB beer, Chris Barrows beer.
Awesome.
When did you get into your brewing career, Chris?
I don't know, but that's pretty strange.
Cycle Brewery. I don't know what it was, man. I can't recall. I'm just going to claim the fact that I've had too many Cycle Brewery, Chris Barrows beers. Tell us some parting shots and let us know some wisdom from your infinite wisdom, Chris.
Fuck. I don't know. Take a bath every now and then. How's that?
Words to live by, my brother.
Yeah.
I'm going to play one more song to close this out. This is what you did, and I somehow got sidetracked with this Tough Gnarl thing, and thanks to Chuck for letting us do this. White Minority with the Queers. This is Chris Barrows live. Chris, thank you for joining loudfastshitty.com.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
I'll give you a shout in the backside, man.
Awesome. That sounds scary, though.
Shot in the backside from Bob Noxious to Chris Barrows. Loudfastshitty.com, episode 387. See ya.
Hey.
Check. This is a song by a punk rock band that we kind of like, the Queers. It's called White Minority by Black Flag. song we just re-recorded our album we did on Hopeless called Beyond the Valley, because Hopeless Records never pays us. They haven't paid us for that album in 15 years, so Chris wrote a song for that called Uncouth. So he's gonna sing it, and this is a kick-ass song, and so Ryan, don't fuck it up.